training camp. But the more you look at the details, the more complicated the picture becomes. Before a single regular season game has been played, before a single practice rep has been logged, two Warriors teammates have already traded shots in press conferences, on podcasts, and across social media. And one of those teammates is Draymond Green, a man with a documented history of letting things go too far. So the question everyone is asking is legitimate. Is this the competitive edge of a champion testing his newest teammate? Or is this the first chapter of a story the Warriors have lived through before? What you are about to hear will walk you through exactly why Draymond keeps publicly coming at Yaxel Lendeberg, how the rookie fired back, why fans are already drawing comparisons to one of the most infamous moments in franchise history, and whether this conflict could cast a shadow over what Golden State is trying to build going forward. To understand why any of this matters, you first have to understand who Draymond Green is. Draymond Green arrived in the NBA as a second-round pick in 2012, chosen 35th overall out of Michigan State. Nobody handed him anything. He scratched and clawed for every minute, every contract, every acknowledgement. Over the next decade, he became the cornerstone of one of the greatest dynasties in professional basketball history. 4 NBA championships, a Defensive Player of the Year award, 5 All-Star selections, a reputation as the most unconventional superstar the game has seen in a generation. He was never the best scorer on the floor, rarely the most talented athlete. What he was and what he remains is the single most important piece in the puzzle that made the Warriors' dynasty run. Green is the defensive anchor, the playmaker, the communicator, the enforcer. He holds everyone accountable in real time on the court with no filter. He will get in your face on the floor, call you out in the press, and then go on his podcast and dissect exactly what you did wrong in front of millions of listeners. His critics call it arrogance. His supporters call it the price of playing at the highest level. Over the years, he has collected technical fouls the way other players collect highlights, been suspended multiple times, and become one of the most polarizing figures the league has produced in 30 years. And yet, when the Warriors needed someone to make the right pass, defend the right man, and say the right thing in the right moment, it was always Draymond Green standing in the middle of it. His legacy in the Bay is complicated, layered, and impossible to separate from both the championship banners and the controversy. That tension is exactly what makes the situation with Yaxel Lendeberg so loaded. Yaxel Lendeberg's path to the NBA is unlike almost anything the league has seen. He grew up in Pennsauken, New Jersey, the son of 2 athletes. Both of his parents played for the Dominican Republic national basketball team, so the competitive bloodline runs deep. But his road was not smooth. He was cut from his high school team as a freshman because of poor grades. He missed his sophomore and junior seasons entirely. When he finally became eligible again as a senior, he played just 11 games and his team won 10 of them. That was the flash of what was coming. He enrolled at Arizona Western College, a junior college program, and spent 3 years there. 3 years grinding in obscurity, building his game, building his body. At Arizona Western, he became the all-time leading rebounder in NJCAA history. Then he transferred to UAB, where he spent 2 seasons and won back-to-back AAAC Defensive Player of the Year awards. He averaged 17.7 points and 11.4 rebounds per game in his final year with the Blazers. He joined Larry Bird as one of only 2 Division I players in history to record over 600 points, 400 rebounds, and 150 assists in a single season. He could have declared for the 2025 draft. He chose not to. Instead, he transferred one more time. He went to the University of Michigan, and what followed was a storybook ending. He averaged 15.1 points, 6.8 rebounds, 3.2 assists, and shot 52% from the field at Michigan. He won the Big Ten Player of the Year award. He was named to the All-Defensive Team. He led the Wolverines to the national championship. His teammates called him the Dominican LeBron. His coach, Dusty May, said his journey was one of the most unique in the history of the sport. Standing 6'9" with a wingspan that stretches past 7'3", Lendeberg projects as one of the most versatile way forwards to enter the league in years. He can defend 1 through 4. He can shoot off the dribble. He can push the ball in transition and initiate offense. At 24 years old, he came into draft night as a man, not a teenager, with a work ethic forged through years of proving himself when nobody was watching. The Golden State Warriors selected him with the 11th pick in the 2026 NBA draft, and the basketball world immediately recognized the fit. a plug-and-play wing alongside Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, an older, wiser, physically ready rookie who would not need years to develop. The expectation was that Lendeberg would contribute immediately. What nobody anticipated was that the trouble would begin before he even put on a Warriors jersey for the first time. But before the text message dispute, before the LeBron pitch, before any of the podcast commentary, Draymond Green already had reasons to raise an eyebrow at his newest teammate, and they all came from the same place, Yaxel Lendeberg's mouth. The night of the draft, Lendeberg sat down for his introductory press conference and wasted no time showing exactly who he was. He was asked about wearing number 23 with the Warriors, the same number he wore in Michigan and the same number that currently belongs to Draymond Green. A Michigan State man, the reporter framed it as a fun hypothetical. Would Lendeberg accept Michigan State gear for a season in exchange for Green handing over the number? What followed was not a diplomatic dodge. Lendeberg said he was not doing that. He said he hated those guys. He said he had only been at Michigan for 1 year but definitely hated the Spartans. He said everything they had to say meant nothing because he went 2-0 against them that season. Then he delivered the line that spread everywhere. He said Michigan State was going to be little brother for him forever and that he would never represent the losers, not a wink and a nudge. A full declaration with receipts on the night he became Draymond Green's teammate. That was not the only comment that raised flags. Lendeberg also admitted publicly that he grew up a Kyrie Irving fan and as a result used to hate Stephen Curry as a kid. He walked it back with enough warmth that Warriors fans found it charming more than alarming. He called Draymond a phenomenal player and said learning from him would be the most crucial part of his development. He said Green was a good guy, but in the same breath, he made clear the Michigan rivalry was not something he was willing to set aside just because they now shared a locker room. For Draymond Green, who spent 4 years at Michigan State and carries that identity as part of who he is, these were not harmless draft night quotes from a nervous rookie finding his footing. This was a 23-year-old man confident enough to call his new veteran teammate a loser on national television before they had ever shaken hands. Green responded on social media almost immediately, posting from France at 6 in the morning, jabbing at the Michigan National Championship and calling it a cute 6-month ring. Lendeberg fired back on Instagram, promising Green will be saying go blue by the end of the season and doubling down on his coach over Green's former coach Tom Izzo. Back and forth in public before either of them had set foot in a Warriors practice facility. Taken on its own, that exchange reads as playful. Two competitive people who come from a heated rivalry poking at each other the way athletes do. But context matters, because what followed was not a de-escalation. It was a series of escalations, each one building on the last, each one adding weight to a relationship that started with Lendeberg, essentially telling his future teammate his alma mater was a loser program. The first crack appeared almost immediately after draft night. At his introductory press conference, Lendeberg was asked whether any of his new teammates had reached out to welcome him to the organization. He mentioned that Stephen Curry had added him to the team group chat right away. He said he had texted Draymond Green but had not yet heard back. On the surface, it sounded like a throwaway line, a rookie being honest with reporters, nothing more. Draymond Green did not see it that way. On a recent episode of the Draymond Green Show, the veteran went in with both barrels. He said in his own words that Yaxel had been lying. He said Lendeberg texted him and that he responded within 30 seconds. He said that when Lendeberg went into interviews and told reporters he was still waiting on a response, that was a fabrication. Green called him out directly by name, told him he was a liar, tied it to what he called the Michigan way, and then added a warning. He told the rookie that the Warriors are not a team that typically does rookie hazing, but that he was prepared to bring it back. He mentioned popcorn in cars, tires going missing. He even brought up a 100-mile trip to Best Buy as one of the possibilities waiting for Lendeberg if he did not get his story straight. Green reportedly showed receipts. He claimed to have the text exchange saved, and the implication was clear. He was not going to let a narrative stand that made him look like a veteran who ignored a draft pick. Whatever the full truth of the communication was, one thing became undeniable. Draymond Green was publicly putting a 23-year-old rookie on notice before that rookie had played a single NBA minute. That exchange alone generated significant attention. But the conversation around veteran-rookie dynamics in professional basketball is not as simple as many fans believe. Within NBA locker rooms, the relationship between established veterans and first-year players carries a weight that outsiders rarely appreciate. Veterans have earned their place through years of physical sacrifice and mental endurance. When a rookie walks in the door talking to reporters about who did or did not text him back, that can land differently behind closed doors than it does in a press conference. For some veterans, it is interpreted as a public challenge, an act of disrespect, however unintentional. The fact that Green responded so forcefully told anyone paying attention that he did not find the comment harmless. The Jordan Poole comparison started circulating immediately, and when the LeBron situation unfolded at Summer League, those comparisons grew louder. During the Las Vegas Summer League, reporters asked Lendeberg a direct question: what would he say to recruit LeBron James to Golden State? The rookie answered with confidence. He talked about playing alongside Stephen Curry, the greatest shooter who has ever lived. He mentioned his relationship with Draymond Green. He made clear he believed he could be a compelling part of that pitch. Draymond Green heard the answer and got on his podcast almost immediately. His response was measured on the surface but carried an unmistakable edge underneath. He said the pitch was pointless. He said training camp was coming soon enough and that he was going to need to rein the rookie in a little bit and teach him a few things. The phrasing landed hard. On 95.7 The Game's The Morning Roast in San Francisco, host Joe Spadoni pointed out the passive-aggressive quality of the comment, questioning whether Green was offering advice or issuing a threat. His co-host offered a different reading, suggesting Green was simply making clear he would be bringing intensity to training camp, but Spadoni was not fully convinced. The veterans in the league circle the rookies who talk too much, and when Draymond Green circles you, people take notice. Rob G., a host on Fox Sports' The Odd Couple, was less charitable in his assessment. He stated plainly that this was another instance of Draymond Green unnecessarily bringing attention to the team. He acknowledged that Curry remains the best player on the Warriors. He argued that Green serves as the emotional engine of the franchise and that energy can be constructive or destructive depending on how it is directed. For Lendeberg's part, when reporters relayed Green's training camp comments to him, he said he got a little nervous. He told the San Francisco Chronicle that he was not entirely sure what Green was hinting at. He joked that he hoped the hazing would be kept to a minimum. It was the kind of measured, slightly deflecting answer you give when you are a rookie who does not want to escalate something he did not start. It also made clear that the exchange had left an impression. Then came the Jordan Poole reference, and everything intensified. In an interview, Lendeberg was asked about the comparisons fans were drawing between his situation and what happened between Green and Jordan Poole in 2022. He said he had seen the video and that he genuinely wondered what could have driven something like that to happen. He said he was not the kind of person who was going to get angry and that he was not worried. He kept the answer light, but the very fact that reporters were asking that question and that Lendeberg had to answer it before playing a regular season game revealed how much weight the Poole shadow still carries inside the Warriors' story. Jordan Poole and Yaxel Lendeberg share something beyond an NBA uniform. They are both Michigan men. Poole attended the University of Michigan. Lendeberg played his final college season in Ann Arbor, winning the national championship wearing the same maize and blue. Draymond Green played 4 years at Michigan State. Anyone who has spent 5 minutes around that rivalry understands what it means. Michigan and Michigan State do not coexist peacefully. They carry the friction of decades of competition into every shared space. Green already opened his dialogue with Lendeberg on that exact battlefield. Shortly after the draft, he posted to social media at 6 in the morning from France, telling Lendeberg that his coach was nothing like Green's and poking at the Michigan National Championship ring by calling it a cute 6-month ring. Lendeberg fired back on his Instagram story, saying Green would be saying go blue by the end of the season. That part of the exchange read as playful. Classic rivals getting into it. Nobody interpreted that as dangerous. But once the podcast came out, once the lying accusation landed, once the reign of rookie and comment reached social media, the Michigan State dimension stopped feeling like harmless banter. It started looking like something older and deeper than a college rivalry. To understand why fans immediately connected those dots to Jordan Poole, you have to revisit October 22. During a closed practice session the Warriors believed was private, Draymond Green struck Poole. Video of the altercation leaked to the public. The organization fined and suspended Green. The relationship between the two never recovered. The following year, the Warriors traded Poole to Washington. What had been a promising young partnership dissolved entirely, and the questions about team culture, the leaked footage, The financial implications of Poole's contract, it was a wound that took years to stop reopening. It happened because a veteran with a history of emotional explosions was placed in close quarters with a young player he had conflict with. Now people are watching a new young Michigan player trade in public barbs with the same veteran. The instinct to draw the parallel is not irrational. It is pattern recognition. That said, in these matters, there is no verified evidence that the current situation between Green and Lendeberg has reached anything close to that level. No reports of physical altercation, no reports of behind-the-scenes blow-ups, no teammates or coaches on record expressing alarm. The Jordan Poole comparison lives almost entirely in the realm of online speculation, fueled by the shared college background, the early friction, and Green's history. Those are real factors worth monitoring, but they are not the same as confirmation that history is repeating itself. What is confirmed is that 3 separate public exchanges have now generated national coverage before a single game has been played. Green supporters will point to his leadership record. Throughout the Warriors dynasty, he has been one of the most demanding voices in the building. He held Kevin Durant accountable. He pushed Klay Thompson. He has spoken at length on his podcast about his belief that discomfort is the engine of growth, that the players who thrived in Golden State were the ones who could receive hard coaching and channel it into performance rather than resentment. From that lens, calling out Lendeberg for a comment he believed was false is not bullying, it is accountability. Saying that training camp is coming and there are things to teach is not a threat. It is a challenge issued by a 4-time champion who knows exactly what winning requires. The counter-argument is just as coherent. Whatever internal lesson Green was trying to teach, he chose to deliver it through a public podcast and social media, placing a rookie who entered the league as one of its most mature prospects in the uncomfortable position of having to publicly walk back statements before he had touched an NBA ball. The Warriors need Lendeberg's confidence. His fearlessness is exactly what made scouts fall in love with him. If the early months of his career become about managing Draymond Green's ego rather than developing his game, that is a problem the organization will eventually have to reckon with. When does accountability cross over into public embarrassment? Green has always lived in the gray space between those two things. The championships exist because of that edge. Sometimes the edge also produces fractures that cannot be repaired. The Warriors have experienced both outcomes, sometimes within the same season. The Warriors have a well-documented history of struggling with exactly this tension. James Wiseman never found his footing. Jonathan Kuminga never broke through. The Poole situation ended in a trade. Each case was different, but the common thread runs through all of them. Whether Golden State's culture of championship-level accountability leaves enough room for young players to grow without being broken down first. That question has real stakes this season. Stephen Curry is aging into the final chapters of one of the greatest careers in NBA history. The window is not indefinitely open. The organization needs Lendeberg to be a real contributor now, not a development project buried at the end of the bench. The more friction between the rookie and the veteran leader before training camp even begins, the more energy gets diverted from the actual goal. By the time Summer League ended, Lendeberg had answered most questions about his on-court readiness. Across his appearances, he averaged over 13 points, more than 6 rebounds and over 4 assists per game while shooting nearly 50% from 3. He led all rookies in box plus minus. He led the Warriors to the Summer League championship. He was doing everything the organization asked of him on the floor. When asked after that championship about whether Green and Curry were proud of what the young group had accomplished, he laughed and acknowledged the back and forth with Draymond, while making clear he believed they would get there. He said they are bringing championships to the Dubs and that eventually the respect would follow. It was confident without being inflammatory, a young man who has figured out how to compete without letting anything rattle him. The Warriors organization has remained largely quiet about the exchanges. No public statement from Steve Kerr, no comment from Mike Dunleavy Jr., no intervention made visible to outside observers. Whether that reflects confidence that the situation is being managed internally, or simply a decision to avoid adding fuel, it has left the narrative entirely in the hands of the two players generating it. What makes the situation genuinely unpredictable is that both men have a real case. Lendeberg did not walk into the Warriors building trying to start a conflict. He answered reporter questions. He made a pitch when asked. He referenced his college background when asked about a famous altercation that fans keep bringing to his doorstep. None of it was designed to be incendiary. The problem is that in the Warriors ecosystem, With the memory of Jordan Poole still fresh, even neutral comments get filtered through a lens of suspicion. Every interaction between Draymond Green and a young Michigan player becomes a referendum on whether Golden State has learned anything at all. Green, for his part, did something revealing during this stretch that often gets overlooked in the controversy coverage. Between the podcast calling out Lendeberg and the training camp warning, he stepped back and acknowledged that Lendeberg looked sharp during Summer League. He expressed genuine enthusiasm for how the rookie played. It was a small gesture, but it suggested that whatever edge exists in this dynamic, it is not straightforwardly hostile. Green has a complicated way of showing respect. Sometimes he shows it by testing you publicly and watching how you respond. Lendeberg's measured, unbothered reaction to repeated provocation may actually be earning him more points with the veteran than any other commentary has recognized. The Warriors have built their dynasty on the idea that championship culture is transferable, that bringing a young player into that environment, surrounding him with the right veterans, subjecting him to the right pressure, eventually turns promise into production. That theory has worked. It has also failed. The difference between those outcomes has often come down to whether the friction generated growth or just burned everything down. Yaxel Lendeberg has earned the right to be in that building. He earned it at Arizona Western when no one was watching. He earned it at UAB against competition that tried to stop him. He earned it at Michigan when the entire country finally noticed. He is not an overrated prospect riding hype. He is a battle-tested adult who has been proving doubters wrong his entire life. Draymond Green has earned the right to lead. He has 4 rings that say so. His commitment to championship standards is not a performance. It is the foundation of everything the Warriors have accomplished. Whether those two forces clash or combine into something powerful enough to push Golden State back to where it wants to be is the most compelling question hanging over the franchise heading into the 2026-27 season. The beef between Draymond Green and Yaxel Lendeberg may look like noise